I hope you lot. It's October 31st, Halloween, so I thought what better time to round off my favourite horror movies list. It started off as a top 10, which I actually did last week, and suddenly realised I couldn't possibly round this down to a top 10 favourites list. I then rounded up another 10, which turned into another 13 or 14, and I thought, oh, to hell with it, we'll do a top 30 altogether, which then added on another couple. I'm just going to keep going with it. I've even cheated a bit because I've included a couple of box set franchises, and rather than singling out a particular episode or part, I've included the whole franchise, which will probably bring it up to about a top 50 or something like that, but we'll see how we go. It could even end up being more than that. This is the first part of it. I'm doing it in sections. I'm doing the first 10 now. Starting with this one, and this is the first cheat. Hammer. I mean, I love all the Hammer movies. I grew up with them. They were part of late night television many years ago. They're still screened now, very popular. This is a box set of 3 of the first ones that they did, which is Dracula, The Curse of Frankenstein, and The Mummy. Nice little box set, this, actually. You get a couple of little... I'm trying to do this without what happened last week when I tried to show you all the Amicus box set and the whole thing fell apart, the coffin shape thing. But you get some nice little art cards inside this one with like that. Curse of Frankenstein, Dracula, and obviously the discs are all. This is more like an unboxing, isn't it? This is the point at which all the discs fell out, but they're quite nice, those. But the Hammer movies, I've got a real fondness for. I love these movies. I can watch these over and over again. Absolute classics, mostly in colour. There's one that I've not included in this list, and I may just go and round it up a bit later on, the Quatermass Experiment, which is the one that started it all. But Hammer Films is my first choice. The next one is another franchise, so I'm cheating again a bit with this. Now, this is a box set of the Wolfman movies. Not just any Wolfman movies, these are the Universal monster movies from the 1940s, Lon Chaney Jr., all that lot. I love these. Again, these were regularly part of the Saturday night horror double bills. Those double bills started with one of these and usually rounded off with a Hammer movie or a recentish American movie. But I love all these black and white ones. I can watch these over and over again. This is part of the Legacy collection. I've got them all upstairs, which is obviously Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man. I believe the Creature from the Black Lagoon is in there as well. They're cracking movies. I've not seen those for a while, so they will be getting a bit of a watch shortly. But the Universal monster movies is the next choice. These are in no particular order, by the way. I get the feeling that some of you will be saying at some point, my God, why is that so low down on the list? They're not low down on the list. This is just the order that I've tried to put them in, getting them as best I can. This one probably should have been higher, the Hitcher. Now, this is the original version. They remade it probably about 10-15 years ago. I believe I saw it once, and it was that typical remake vibe, sort of, yeah, it's all right, but why did you bother? This is quite terrifying enough without needing to update it. I couldn't even tell you who was it. I think Sean Bean played the guy that got picked up. But if you've not seen this, it's about a young man played by C. Thomas Howell who picks up a hitchhiker in the middle of nowhere, played by Rutger Hauer, who is absolutely terrifying in this. And obviously the guy is batshit crazy, and it just goes from one stage to the next. This is horrific if you've never seen it. This is probably nearly 40 years old, 1985 or 6 I think it came out, and it still has the power to shock now. Rutger Hauer is just as chilling as hell in this. If you've not seen this, I would highly recommend this. This is a cracking horror movie. As I say, nearly 40 years old, but still shocking. Next one The Burning. Um, I saw this again when it first came out, probably around 1981. It was part of the Video Nasties list when the scare came in, sort of in the sort of early to mid late mid to early to mid 80s. It got caught up in all that. There were a couple of scenes in there involving fingers being chopped off and stuff like that. This is a classic stalker slasher type movie. A group of kids accidentally kill a caretaker who they basically just don't like. He's quite creepy, and they accidentally kill him in a fire. And obviously he comes back years later to get his revenge, not necessarily on the kids who killed him, but just anybody who happens to be around. This really is one of the nastiest slasher movies that I've ever seen. The gore levels are cranked up to 11. It really is well done though. It's got a soundtrack by, I believe, Rick Wakeman. Oh, I can't read it because it's a German import and all the writing on the back is in German, but I'm fairly sure. Yes, it is. I can see it on the front. Yeah, so the music is by Rick Wakeman, so it's quite electronic. But this is a cracking film if you've never seen it. Well worth a watch. Blood on Satan's Claw. This is one of my favourite British horror movies, made in 1971. Stars Linda Hayden, Patrick Wymark, Barry Andrews, Michelle Dotrice, who was famous for playing Frank Spencer's wife in Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. This is a creepy little piece. It fits nicely into the folk horror bracket, which I talked about last week when I mentioned Witchfinder General in the first 10 movies that I mentioned on this list. Basically, it's set in I believe, the 16th century or something like that, probably earlier. A young farmer discovers a skull on his land while ploughing, and a lot of the villagers start discovering bits of hair or hairy skin on their arm, stuff like that. It's all to do with devil worship and stuff like that. The kids in the village start acting weirdly. It really is good. I don't make it sound very good. So I haven't watched it for quite a while. I need to watch this again, but I do remember seeing the trailer for this in the 70s. We went to, I can't remember what movie it was to see now, but I was very, very young. We went to see a movie that wasn't meant to have that kind of a trailer. It was supposed to be just advertising sort of kids' films and stuff like that as coming soon. But this one came on in the middle of it, and it scared the crap out of me. And I remember thinking at the time, why on earth are they showing this? But that trailer has stuck with me for years. And the first time I saw this film, it brought it all back. Seeing the skull in the ground with the actual eyeball still in it and a worm crawling across it. Oh God, yeah. But it's a cracking film. It's a very strange film, but absolutely worth a look. And that's another one that I need to rediscover at some point very soon. Now, I talked about this next one quite a while ago and did a review on the website for it. This is one of my favourite ever movies, Kingdom of the Spiders. I couldn't do a list of horror movies without featuring this one. It's basically William Shatner in a battle with thousands and thousands of tarantulas that invade a town. What made this as scary as it was is the fact that it was done before the advent of CGI. So when you see people literally crawling from head to toe with tarantulas, they are real spiders. And I believe that when they did auditions for this film, one of the first questions that they asked was, do you have a problem with spiders before we go any further? And anybody that said they didn't like them, that was it. It's absolutely pointless being in this movie. But it is really well done. It is pure 70s American cheese, but it is absolutely superb. I love this movie. It was on at Burton Odeon on a double bill with, I believe, a Canadian horror film called The Redeemer. And I couldn't get in to see this one because The Redeemer was an X certificate. And I'd have only been about 14, maybe 15 at the time. And I tried a couple of times to get in, but they just wouldn't have it. And I just happened to go a third time on a day when there was virtually, literally nobody in the cinema, and they let me in purely because there was nobody else in there. So I sat and watched this alone. I only caught the end credits of The Redeemer, so I didn't get to see that till many years later, but it was actually not a brilliant horror film. I don't think that would have bothered me too much, but that is absolutely worth watching. This is just superb, and I never get bored of watching that one. The next one, The Changeling, George C. Scott. Now, this is a classic ghost story. I haven't seen this one for decades, and it's another one that I would love to find on Blu-ray. I don't know whether it's available, but I'm going to have a look. I do remember the sequence in the well. I'm not going to give anything away because it's a bit spoilerish, but there is a sequence in a well to do with a kid, and it was just terrifying. So this is another one that I really do need to revisit at some point very, very soon. This is another film that I fell in love with the first time I saw this. It came on a double bill with another movie. This is called Day of the Animals. Again, 1970s horror movie. They've got a certain look and feel to them that I absolutely love, and I can still watch this again over and over again. It is an eco-type horror. Basically, there are holes appearing in the ozone layer. The sun's rays are getting through, driving the animals crazy. There is a group of people on a tour of this mountainside who get stuck up there with all these crazy animals. It's just really, really well done. But again, it's more memories with me. This was on a double bill with this one, The Car. I was still at school at the time. This was the very first double A double bill or movies that I'd actually seen, and double A at the time in the 70s was the equivalent of a 15 certificate. And I do remember these two movies being the talk of school this particular day. So me and a couple of mates went to see these and just sat there jumping like hell all the way through it. But I love these movies. I'm trying desperately to get hold of a copy of the actual poster. There are a few on eBay. I'm just waiting for them to come down in price, and I would love to have that right behind me. But that, as I say, is more memories with me. This was the first double A feature that I actually saw along with that one. So, but I would definitely recommend this one. It's basically just a possessed automobile car. It's a beautiful car, absolutely gorgeous thing, and it's terrorizing this sort of desert town in the middle of nowhere, killing residents, killing visitors, running them over. And it's possessed by the devil, whatever. But this is a wonderful movie. It is a classic double feature that I would love to watch back to back one night. And finally, another one from the 70s, another eco horror. I believe I talked about this one the other week, Prophecy. Again, I love this movie, released in 1979, way before its time. Basically talking about the fact that pollution is killing wildlife in the forest and also creating mutations. One of which is this huge, great big 20-foot melted bear, what looks like a melted bear. But it's got many, many jump scares in it. It stars Robert Foxworth, who was fairly famous for being one of the brothers in Falcon Crest, I believe, and Talia Shire. I love this. When I saw this at the pictures, it was scary stuff. This was 1979. It was an X certificate. And again, well worth watching. I've been after this on Blu-ray for quite a while, and I watched it just recently, and it really, really does hold up well. It's still as frightening. You still jump in all the right places, so I definitely recommend that one if you like a good horror film, and especially if you like 70s horror, American horror. You won't go far wrong with that one. Right, that's the first 10, folks. I'll be back later with another 10. God knows how many there's going to be. I've got, you wouldn't believe the mess of DVDs I've got next to me here, but I'm going to try and get through them all. So I'll be back a little bit later with some more of these. Enjoy your Halloween evening, and I will talk to you all again very, very shortly. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.